Told to be grateful that I have a high paying job at one of the world's largest.
This is so true. Being grateful is one of the things that hold you back more than anything in this life. And let me explain why. In the recent discourse around the influencer trip, people have been like, I would just be grateful that I got to go on holiday in the first place. And let me tell you immediately why that's 100% no, especially in this context. When a brand reaches out to you, when a company wants to hire you, when a potential client inquires about your services, they already see the value that you bring to the table. They're already imagining a situation where your contribution will help them grow in some way, whether it's to grow their revenue or whether it's to give them a better social positioning. They are already seeing what they're getting out of you. So it's only natural that you should come back and say, okay, in exchange for what I'm bringing to the table, here are my expectations. There's nothing ungrateful about that. Gratitude does not mean that you sell yourself short in any capacity whatsoever. In many of these scenarios, no one's doing anybody favors here. If they invite a bunch of influencers or if someone hires you to do a piece of work, they know the value they're getting out of you by you being in that job role, by you being hired, the intellect that you bring, the skill set, maybe some of the social positioning that you bring. And they've decided that there's a particular price that they're willing to pay for that. Now, the budget they've allocated versus the price they're willing to pay at first may vary. And it's your job to make sure that you stand strong in your non-negotiables. And remember, life is a negotiation. So sometimes there's a bit of back and forth, but you should never just think, oh, well, I'm just so lucky to have this opportunity. I'm just going to go with their flow, because that is what they're banking on to minimize the level of investment while keeping the return high. Because what's the gap between this investment and the return? All of this is profit. And that's one of the ways in which business works and the ways that extreme capitalism works as well. So I've gone into this in much more detail on a recent podcast episode where I talk about money mindset and myths and just things that have helped me unlock more abundance in my life. And, ultimately it's still a journey, but these things have been tried and tested, not just by me, but by people that I admire. I'm going to post a clip from that podcast just after this video so that you can see. But if you want to watch more, get into it in a bit more depth, you know what to do. I hope this helps.